The road ahead was uncertain, stretching out into the dusky wilderness like an uncharted path to an unknown future. Jacob was no stranger to turmoil. He had left behind the comforts of his family's home, his brother Esau's rage fresh in his mind. Esau, betrayed by Jacob's cunning for the birthright, and their father's blessing, burned with anger. Jacob knew he might never return home, and every step forward felt like exile. The solitude of the wilderness was overwhelming. As the sun sank below the horizon, Jacob found himself enveloped by a growing darkness. The sky above freckled with distant stars. A strange sense of anticipation hung in the air, as though the silence itself were alive with mystery. Jacob reached a rocky clearing and decided to stop for the night. He found a smooth stone, placed it beneath his head for a pillow, and lay down. Exhaustion swept over him, and he slipped into a deep sleep. But little did Jacob know that this was not just a night of rest. It was the threshold of a divine encounter. The dream began suddenly. One moment, Jacob was shrouded in the stillness of the night. The next, he stood in awe, his eyes fixed on a vision that defied explanation. A ladder, luminous and otherworldly, stretched from the earth to the heavens, its steps glimmering as if carved from pure light. The ladder seemed alive, pulsating with the rhythm of eternity. Angelic beings ascended and descended, their forms radiant and filled with purpose. Each step they took resonated with a sense of divine order. Jacob's breath caught as his eyes followed the ladder upward. At its pinnacle stood the Lord himself, majestic and resplendent. His presence radiated power and peace, filling the expanse with an indescribable glow. Then the Lord spoke, his voice like the rolling thunder of the heavens yet soft as the whisper of the wind. I am the Lord, the God of your father Abraham, and the God of Isaac. I will give you and your descendants the land on which you are lying. Genesis 28-13. The Lord's voice continued, weaving promises into Jacob's heart. Your descendants will be like the dust of the earth, and you will spread out to the west and to the east, to the north and to the south. All peoples on earth will be blessed through you and your offspring. Genesis 28-14. The words carried the weight of a covenant, linking Jacob to the legacy of his grandfather, Abraham, and his father Isaac. God was declaring that the future of an entire nation would spring from Jacob, a man fleeing with nothing but the clothes on his back. But God's promise wasn't just about a distant future, it was deeply personal. He said, I am with you, and will watch over you wherever you go, and I will bring you back to this land. I will not leave you until I have done what I have promised you. Genesis 28-15. In that moment, Jacob was no longer a wanderer. He was a man chosen by God, bound to a destiny far greater than himself. Jacob awoke with a start. The dream was over, but its vividness lingered in his mind. His heart raced as he whispered into the pre-dawn silence, surely the Lord is in this place, and I was not aware of it. Genesis 28-16. A shiver ran down his spine as the enormity of the encounter settled over him. He looked around, the ordinary rocks and sand now infused with sacred significance. The place where he lay, once just a stopping point on his journey, had become a gateway to heaven itself. In reverence, Jacob declared, how awesome is this place? This is none other than the house of God. This is the gate of heaven. Genesis 28-17. Determined to mark the encounter, Jacob took the very stone he had used as a pillow and set it upright as a pillar. With careful hands, he poured all over it, anointing it as a sacred marker. He named the place Bethel, meaning house of God. The pillar stood as a testament to the divine promise Jacob had received. It was a physical reminder that even in the most desolate places, God's presence could transform the ordinary into the extraordinary. Jacob's heart overflowed with a sense of purpose. He spoke aloud, making a solemn vow to the Lord. If God will be with me and will watch over me on this journey, I am taking and will give me food to eat and clothes to wear so that I return safely to my father's household. Then the Lord will be my God. This stone that I have set up as a pillar will be God's house. And of all that you give me, I will give you a tenth. Genesis 28-22. Jacob's vow was not born of doubt but of gratitude and commitment. It marked the beginning of a personal relationship with God, one rooted in trust and devotion. Jacob's dream of the ladder was far more than a vision, it was a profound revelation of God's plan for humanity. The ladder symbolized the connection between heaven and earth, a bridge that foreshadowed the ultimate mediator, Jesus Christ. In this story, we are reminded that God meets us even in our wilderness moments. He takes our fears, uncertainties, and failures and transforms them with His presence and promises. Like Jacob, we are invited to trust in God's guidance, knowing that He is with us wherever we go. So, as you journey through life, remember Jacob's ladder. Dream of heaven that speaks of God's eternal faithfulness and the assurance that His promises never fail.